Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be doing a review for episode 3 of She-Hulk Attorney at Law. I really enjoyed it. Another fun episode for me. Uh, so far we're getting into like the middle of the series, like with She-Hulk. Sorry, Jennifer Walters. She doesn't like to be called She-Hulk. Jennifer sort of adapting to her abilities while carrying on with her new job in the law firm. So basically, just picked up where the last episode left off, where Jennifer had been told about Blonsky's escape. It was on the news, so it basically just picks up with her storming into the prison, um, and talking to Blonsky, and she's demanding, why didn't you tell me any of this in our last conversation? You told me you couldn't change in the Abomination. He cuts her. He's like, no, I said I choose not to. He says, but I was forced against my will by a sorcerer supreme called Wong. He says, I returned through my own will. He says, so everything's fine. So she she goes off then, and she's getting abuse outside the prison from all reporters, uh, because she's taken Blonsky's case, and like they're all making up different stories. Somebody says, is it true the Avengers rejected you? And she's like, what? Just trying to run off now. So uh, she gets her friend to get in contact with Wong to come and meet her. And it's actually it's a funny scene in the while she's driving, where she breaks the fourth wall. She turns to the camera and says, like, I know you guys are all excited to see Wong, but let me just make it clear whose series this is about. He says, don't be expecting all these cameos to show up every episode. Even though we've had just Bruce and Blonsky and now Wong. It's like sort of hinting, okay, there is going to be a cameo every episode. So I like the ways to break the fourth wall each time. Like, so we had, so she gets back to her law firm, and there's a side plot of what she calls later in the episode, what was it she called it? Side plots A and B. So hers is side plot A, and side plot B was her colleague from the previous one, the one that was always talking down to her, and he was always sort of full of himself. He was at the new law firm asking for help with a case. I think its name is Bukowski, but he was asking for help on a defamation case, or a lawsuit case, for a character called Runa, who was a light elf from Asgard, who had impersonated Megan the Stallion, but it might be a big singer or something. So he was saying to her boss, me and Jennifer have history, so I don't want to work with her. And then her another female colleague walked in, and he said, I don't want to work with her either because she'll probably fall in love with me. And it's like this, and the male character who uh, gave Jennifer the welcome basket whenever she first arrived, he was standing there, and the guy says, what about him? He's the guy. I'll take him. So he went to help him with his case, and the light elf Runa, she kept making appearances, impersonating the guy first. Bukowski saying, she came back in and says, I've made a change of heart. I think I'm gonna drop the case. But then the guy phoned up, so he knew that was the elf, so he told him to get out. So back to the plot A. Wong basically showed up, and he basically explained everything that happened, that he needed a worthy opponent to battle in order to become Sorcerer Supreme. So he chose Abomination, and that even though he told Blonsky that he could stay in the what did you call it? I can't remember the name for it. It was the the safe haven. He was going to give him like shelter from thing, but he said no. I want to return to prison and do my time and things. So he also says he told Jennifer, he says, like, if you want me to do a spell to wipe everyone's memories, I can't do that. He says, not again. This gets too tricky, which was funny, but even though he didn't do the spell originally, it was Doctor Strange. But Jennifer says, look, can you be my witness? Need you to show up. So he says, yep, no problem. And so she went to Blonsky and said, Wong's going to speak on your behalf and everything. So they got to the trial, and Wong was late, even though he can just open a portal anywhere and enter. So they had to try and buy time. So all these random character witnesses showed up. There was like a security guard for the prison who burst into tears, talking about how Blonsky had helped him become a better person and a better lover for his wife. And there was a prison librarian who said that Blonsky had helped improve reading in the prison ring. So the jury was basically, or the parole board, sorry, I should say, they were basically saying, this all sounds good and everything, but it doesn't explain the breakout of Blonsky and him turning into Abomination. So he basically says that he can still be in control when he turns into Abomination. So he turns in, and they're all running and screaming, and Jennifer's like shouting at him like, change back. So he changed back, and then Wong finally shows up and says he lost track of time. I think that the events of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness were happening probably at the same time, and that's why Wong was late, because the first time he shows up, he's a few cuts on his face, and then the second time Chubby says, I lost track of time. So I think it might have been around those events, which is why he was late to the thing. So basically he just gives his testimony, and tells him everything, and basically then the grant Blonsky's parole, but tell Wong, he says, you basically just admitted to breaking out a prisoner and offering him shelter from thing on. He says, that you've broke the law. And Wong says, "Yep, my time's up. I gotta go." he, he exits. So Jennifer basically, Blonsky thanks Jennifer, and Jennifer says, just stay out of the news. Like myself, I'm gonna stay out. And he said, basically tells her, look, the reporters and journalists are gonna write stories about you in the news, regardless. So why don't you give your own voice to these stories? And she basically goes on TV, um, for an interview, and the reporter's like, "So how did you come up with the name of She-Hulk?" And she's like, "Actually, I didn't. It was this random guy at the courthouse who took like a second to think of it." Um, so then he's gone off on one, and then he says, we have to take an ad break, but when we come back, She-Hulk is going to talk about her new diet plan and workout regimen." And she's like, "What?" It just shows you how like they make things up. So basically, that was that, and then with the side plot, her colleague, I think his nickname's Pug. I don't know what that, but he asked Jennifer to be a character witness for her ex colleague against the Light Elf. Basically, because the judge was basically saying that there's no way that someone with intelligence could mistake um, an elf impersonating a Grammy Award winner. She was basically asked him to he bought her, was it like a cheap car or something? It was like a hundred grand or something like that, and bought her uh cheap jewelry and everything. And he was basically saying, there's no way you could mistake her. Her representative, her lawyer, was saying, that it was an equal relationship. He knew that she wasn't Megan Thee Stallion, that she was a Light Elf, and they were just doing role play. So Jennifer went on the stand and basically said that, he is so full of himself, so up his own arse, that he would be completely convinced that he was dating a supermodel or a Grammy Award winner. He is very shallow. He doesn't think very much of women. He doesn't that. So the judge basically finds the Light Elf Runa guilty and awards full damages to him. So I think that was basically it. And then the ending of the episode was Jennifer was walking back to her car, and she gets attacked from behind by this guy, pulling a knife on her. Another guy goes to approach her, and she hulks out, and just lifts the guy one hand off her. But then several more show up, and they have like mystical weapons. And she says, um, to them, they look Asgardian powered or Asgardian weapons, and he basically says, yeah, they are. So she takes them out, but one of them tries to take a sample of her blood, but the needle bends against her skin when she's in Hulk form. So they retreat, and when they're driving off, the head of the gang basically says, the boss is going to be pissed with us when he finds out. So it'll be interesting to see who the boss is, who's going to be the big bad for this series. You know, if they were using Asgardian weapons, you know, is that sort of a link to um, Thor: Love and Thunder, or is it going to be like I don't think it would be Loki. I definitely don't think it'd be anything like connected to that, but it could be just be um another like another characters yet to be introduced. You know, like Kingpin was introduced in Hawkeye, so although maybe it has another connection to Kingpin because obviously Daredevil is going to be making a cameo appearance in this, so um, it'll be interesting. And the post credit scene was it was basically just it was for laughs basically. Her boss um was walking past and he happened to glance into her office and she was dancing with Megan the Stallion, and Megan Thee Stallion was giving her autograph. I think it's, I'm sure. Let me just double check. It is Megan the Stallion. It is, yeah. Didn't want to get that name wrong. So yeah, that was that. So again, I liked it. It was fun for me. You know, I know the series is sort of at the moment 50-50 between fans. Some like it, some hate it, some think it's what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, some think it's too uh, female pushed, but you know, or woke as the people like to say nowadays. But I don't see that. Whenever I watch a TV show, I don't look at who's doing what, who's in the lead, who's this, who's that. I just look at a TV show. If I enjoy it, if it makes me laugh, if I'm entertained, I like it. If I'm not entertained, I don't like it. But you know, for me, I enjoyed it. I liked seeing Wong make a cameo, as she said uh, when she was looking at breaking the fourth wall and saying, "You know, I know you're all excited to see Wong." So I liked that. I liked his link up, Blonsky, uh, talking about his battle with Wong and the thing, and then saying, you know, that he's in control now. So, but I meant to say that uh, one of the uh, one of the conditions under his release was that he is never to turn into Abomination again. So I like to see where that goes because obviously Disney or Marvel announced Thunderbolts, which I'm sure he's a part of. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, how that plays out. You know, is he going to turn into Abomination again and end up going on the run? Is he going to join another faction? Is he going to be an ally to Jennifer? And again, we don't know what's happened with Bruce because he jet off in the last episode. But all in all, looks fun. I'm looking forward to seeing who the reveal is for the bad guy. I mean, I know from uh, the '90s series I watched that the leader was always like the big enemy for She-Hulk and the Hulk. So, and we did get a sort of uh, a link to that in the Incredible Hulk movie with Edward Norton, where the doctor, Mr. Blue, who he was contacting to for a cure whenever Blonsky knocked him out, some of Banner's contaminated blood uh, Chip Dundee cutting his head, and his head started to grow. So that would be a nice callback if it was him and it was the leader who was trying to get a hold of her blood to create an army of Hulks like he did in the animated series. That would be a cool one. I like that. It could also be maybe a nod, uh, possibly Doctor Doom. I know. I remember again in the '90s series that he had a few battles with She-Hulk and things. So, but maybe not. You know, that might be more leaving that for the Fantastic Four type of thing. But anyway, look, I look forward to the next episode. So far, I'm enjoying this series, and obviously we got Wong in this one, so maybe Daredevil in the next episode, or um, it might be something else. It mightn't even be Daredevil just yet. It might just be um Matt Murdock in like a courtroom scene or something, and then a later episode he might return in his Daredevil gear to help her fight something. But anyway, look, uh, like the video and drop a comment below what you thought so far of the series if you've been watching. What are you looking forward to for the rest of the series? And you know, who do you think is going to be the boss that is basically trying to get hold of Jennifer's blood and basically Hulk's blood? So, and obviously it has some connection to Asgard, which maybe could also have a connection to why Runa the Light Elf was there, trying to, because she was maybe trying to infiltrate, because your guy was a colleague of Jennifer's, so maybe that could be another connection. But anyway, subscribe to the channel, be very much appreciated, and I will see you for the next episode review. Take care, and I'll see you again.